Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank
Greetings
you.
all. My name is Dr. James Moore, and I have the honor of introducing our speaker. Combat tests you. Being a beat cop tests you. Life tests you. Three brothers and being the only girl tests you. Vernice FlyGirl Armour has been tested her whole life. A Gutsy trailblazer, her resume is an impressive collection of firsts, including America's first Black female combat pilot. She served 2 tours of duty in Iraq as Marine. She was also a diversity liaison officer to the Pentagon for Headquarters Marine Corps. After her military service, FlyGirl revved up her career in the private sector as an entrepreneur, consultant to business, and the author of Zero to Breakthrough, the 7-step battle-tested method for accomplishing goals that matter. As a speaker, FlyGirl unleashes hard-hitting advice and amazing anecdotes from her adventures on the battlefield and in business. She helps individuals and organizations get gutsy and build sustainable inner force and conviction that results in accomplishing significant goals. In 2007, FlyGirl launched VAI Consulting and Training, LLC. Through that work, she helps individuals and organizations make gutsy moves and create breakthrough results by applying her Zero to Breakthrough success model, a mindset that helped propel her career and kept her safe in air combat. FlyGirl regularly takes her message to premier meetings and conferences worldwide and is a gutsy confidence mentor for elite senior executive women in tech. As a Black gay woman and single mom, FlyGirl brings vital experience to her role as a member of the Forbes School of Business and Technology Board of Advisors and Comcast NBC Universal Joint Diversity Council. FlyGirl has 2 honorary doctorates and received numerous awards as a pioneering pilot, including honors for her commanding role in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. Vernice FlyGirl Armour's story has been featured in the media, including CNN, NBC, The View, Fox News, Oprah Winfrey, and many more, along with being a running back for the San Diego Sunfire professional women's football team and 2-time title holder of Camp Pendleton's Strongest Warrior competition. She is currently working on her next book, The Gutsy Move. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented action. Vernice FlyGirl Armour, known simply as FlyGirl, is living proof. She's here to share her insights on the simple steps to making gutsy moves and meeting the toughest challenges and goals head on. A gutsy trailblazer, her impressive resume includes being a former police officer, soldier, United States Marine, America's first Black female combat pilot. FlyGirl has been out of the military since 2007 and now is on the CBO that's Chief Breakthrough Officer of her own company. FlyGirl's #1 mission today is to help leverage the power of our shared bottom line, one mission, one goal, one team. Her Get Gutsy mindset and principles are powerful tools to apply in both business and personal lives. After this short video, please welcome your officer in charge, FlyGirl.
In my journey, I've learned obstacles are opportunities. Acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. What's your passion? What's your purpose in that passion? Do what average people do. Have what average people have. I don't want to be average. Do you?
Hello. Okay, we can stop that video. What's up? Hello, everyone. All right. I just got to get us started because #1, we're a few minutes late. There was a huge misunderstanding on my part, so I'm going to kick it off but I feel like I'm here by myself. Or maybe this is everybody in the back, can we turn our videos on? What's going on, Aubrey? Okay. And those of you in the chat, throw your name in the chat. Where are you from? What city are you in? Jessica, Davey, Courtney, Ronald, Barbie, Misha, Sonia. Where you at? Where are you? Man, because we have some stuff to talk about today. Jessica, Scottsdale. I used to live at Bell and Tatum, so I was your neighbor. Boom. And why am I playing Sunny? Because, wait, we got a couple of folks. Well, Charlie Clinton, Misha, Portland, Oregon. What's that? Lisa, I'm in Atlanta. I'm just south in Serenbe. Let's see, Courtney Keller, Fairhope, Alabama. I got you. Ronald, Vegas, baby. All right. Cool. If you can turn on your videos to join us, please. You know, that helps create a more intimate atmosphere and it doesn't feel like we're just looking at names staring off into a black hole. If you're driving in a car, I don't care if you don't have any makeup on. I don't care if you're at work and you don't want your boss to see me. Okay, that's a different story. I got it. Our topic today, the topic today, sustainable inner force, right? How do we create a sustainable inner force that will help us accomplish our goals as we drive forward, as I like to say, on the battlefield of life? So let me first back up and say I am usually on time, on target. I somehow missed the information this morning for our talk starting right now. So let's just build that into the sustainable inner force. When we have hiccups, how do we deal with it, right? When I do a talk, and I'm usually in person, before COVID, I would wear my flight suit and I would come in and do sound check, and I'm taking selfies and doing hugs and walking around. And inevitably, and it would be a woman, she would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I love your outfit." And I'm thinking, okay, first of all, this is not an outfit. This is a uniform, right? 166 combat sorties, 2 tours in Iraq, combat helicopters. This is not an outfit. And I am from the South. So what did I say? Thank you. Exactly. Now, if I were from Texas, I would say, "Bless your heart," right? And that is not a compliment, James. I hear you. And then she would go on to, "You must be a pilot, right?" "Yes, ma'am." "Air Force, right?" No. "Marine Corps." She's like, "Oh my God, Marines, that is so awesome. They're the toughest. They are cool. They are bad. Girl, you were just bad. I am so proud of you." Well, wait a minute. They are the toughest. And don't get me wrong, but you're a woman. You're black. And in that moment, I'm thinking, okay, I forgot when I was brushing my teeth in the mirror this morning. Did you have any challenges and obstacles? And at that point, I actually asked her, I laugh a little bit because, you know, everyone has obstacles. Flight school was hard. Becoming a Marine was hard. Combat was hard. Everyone there with me had challenges and obstacles. Even the average white guy has challenges and obstacles, right? And the key is acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power, right? Acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. Find the solution. Focus on success. Period. End of story. That's it. It's easy to say, not necessarily the easiest to do, right? And folks would ask me, Vernice, V, all my friends call me V, so feel free. When you were impacted by the challenges and obstacles, how did you deal with it, right? Because acknowledge the obstacles, don't give them power. Easy to say, right? So I'll give you an example. Give a little context. I was the only female pilot out of 365 Marines and 67 pilots in my squadron when I first joined. So let's just say my onboarding package was a little different, right? But there was never a wait for the women's bathroom. If I needed to study for a test, cram, an emotional break, I could always go to that women's bathroom. And one morning I could feel the emotions welling up inside. And I knew the bathroom wasn't going to be enough. So I grabbed my keys. I drove to the beach, which was a quick 5 minutes away, San Diego, right? Camp Pendleton, just north of San Diego. And by the time I got there, I was bawling. Just cried my eyes out. And I called up Mom. I said, Mom, I am done. I don't have to deal with this. I'm to take this from them. I don't have to put up with this. I'm ready to just rip these wings off, throw them on the ground, and walk away. And they were only on with Velcro. It would have been easy. And what did Mom say? Baby, you did not work this hard, this long to give up now. Stop crying, dry your eyes, and go back to work. What was Mom essentially saying? Right now, I know if you could come off mute, you would say, suck it up, right? Or I've heard people say, and yes, that's exactly what she was saying. But for our purposes today, we'll just say, acknowledge the obstacles, don't give them power, right? Find the solution, focus on success. So the sustainable elements, right? Essential components that I like to use, it's a 5-part process. Number 1, create your flight plan. Where are you? Where do you want to be? This is the hallmark of the components. Why? Because it's your why. It's your North Star, as some organizations call it, right? It's where it's the direction. It gives you everything that you need, right? Direction wise. What's your purpose? Where are you going and why, right? So, and we've seen the books on it, The One Thing and What's Your Why, and your purpose, right? Divine purpose, your purpose on the planet. What is that thing that you want so bad that you are able and willing to do whatever it takes to go over, around, under, through to get to the other side? Number 2, your pre-flight. Now, the pre-flight, this is what I call, well, this is when pilots will go out to the aircraft, will look at the transmission, the rotor, the engine, the landing gear, everything to make sure we can go up, have a safe flight, execute the mission, come back, right, safely. This is where we mitigate the risks, right? Because it's not like running out of gas in your car, right? Where you just pull out your AAA card, call AAA, oh, your subscription is expired, you renew with your credit card and they still come anyway, right? Now, and there are no parachutes in helicopter land, right? Parachute, helo don't exactly go together, right? So you want to make sure you can go up, have a safe mission, and come back down. Next is takeoff, right? If you can imagine the shuttle, the clock's counting down and everything is vibrating, shaking, right? And within moments, you know that shuttle has left the surface of our planet. You don't know if it's 50 feet off the ground or 10 feet off the ground, but you know it has left the surface. It has launched. Within moments, it is circling the globe, executing and navigating the minefields and obstacles, right? So step 3 and 4, take off and execute. And finally, step 5, review, recharge, reattack. Review your successes and your failures. And honestly, your successes are just important as the failures, even though the failures impact us more, so we tend to learn more, right? But the successes, how did we get there? What did we do to create that success? And how do we repeat it again and again and again and again? And that's what we end up calling our best practice, right? Our best practices. So review, recharge emotionally, physically, intellectually, right? Emotionally. Are we taking a break when we need to? There's been a lot going on there. It's crazy these days. Global pandemic, recession, inflation, war, not just the one I was in 20 years ago, but the one happening now in Ukraine. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. The pace of work in our offices, in our organization, in our lives, right? The pace is tremendous. So how are you taking that emotional time that you need to recharge, right? Physically, are you trying to eat healthy? Are you trying to drink water? I mean, so many folks make the joke about the COVID-19, right? The 19 pounds that we put on. How are you taking care of yourself? Emotionally, physically, and intellectually. That's why we're here today, right? intellectually, as Stephen Covey would say, to sharpen the saw, right? We have to take a step back, sharpen, retune, right? Like a finely tuned laser burning through steel, and go out and do it again. Review, recharge, reattack. There are only 2 ways to succeed. Period. End of story. Put it in the chat. If you feel there are more than 2 ways to succeed, put more than 2 ways. If you feel there are only 2 ways, put only 2 ways. I just want to see who is on board with me. And if you're there, if you're there, more than 2 ways. That was Aubrey. All right. Jessica, Lisa, Misha. Okay. Are you guys multitasking? And it's okay. I get it. As a pilot, I absolutely had to multitask. I had to fly and shoot, right? Let's see, more than 2 ways, James, maybe just 1. Okay, now that we have all the suspense going, there are only 2 ways to succeed, period, end of story. The first time, or again. Or again, however many times it takes. But it's either the first time or again. That's it, right? It's the secret of what I call the reattack. All right. So thank you, Aubrey, for putting the steps into the chat. Number 1, create your flight plan. Number 2, pre-flight. Number 3, takeoff. Number 4, execute. And number 5, review your successes and failures, recharge emotionally, physically, and intellectually. And 5, reattack. So those are my tangible takeaways and tips for creating a sustainable inner force, with the foundational pillar being create your flight plan. Create your flight plan. Know where you're going. And in our organizations, especially corporate America, as we climb in leadership, for our mentors and our allies, if I'm just going to throw this in real quick, for our mentors and our allies to help us, they have to know what our flight plan is, our roadmap, what's our goal, how do they connect us, how do they help us create the relationships, how do they make introductions, right? How do they give us the access opportunity, the stretch goals, right? The leadership challenges. If they don't know what our ultimate why is and what we're trying to accomplish, how do they help us get there? So I am going to pause right there, and I am going to open it up for questions. We have about 20 minutes or so, and if we end early, got it. But go ahead and take yourself off of mute and hit me. All right, Bill, how you doing?
Doing good, Vernice. Vernice, I first of all, I think I've heard you speak before, and I absolutely love your construction, how you frame things, and
Thank you.
you're very easy to follow and implement some of your strategies that are successful. The question that I have, and I'm at the back end of my career, so I'm a kind of a seasoned executive, professor, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I see throughout my career, all of these constructs are good, but what if you get into a culture? You understand the military culture and different cultures that exist, and you just have a boss that is just autocratic and tough, and I don't care about your construction. You're going to do it this way. I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, I've always found that eventually that particular leadership goes away, and the cream rises to the top, et cetera. People like you, I thought that was a great story with your mother talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have any advice for the people that might feel stuck? And that's not me. I'm just offering that based on because I interview a lot of students, and I've seen a lot of employees sometimes trying to do some wonderful things, but sometimes the culture may butt up against them, and they're constrained. So I'm just kind of curious what you might say.
Yeah, I have a couple things insight when it comes to that. So I'll share an example first. I had a young guy, he came to me, he said he wanted to do a certain course and take a course of action, right, for his company. But they had to send him to a class that was going to cost, I don't know, let's just say $5,000, but it was going to take him out of pocket for 5 days. He just went in and said, hey, can I do this course? It'll take 5 days. And they said no. So he came back and he said, well, I know it's going to save them money. Like, we're talking about millions of dollars, and it's going to automate some of our processes. It's going to be amazing. And I said, okay, so wait, did you say that? He said, well, no, I just told him I wanted to take the course, right? I said, no. You have to go back and give the what's in it for them. People want to know what's in it for them, and how is what you're doing going to make them or the organization look good. So when folks have an idea that they want to implement, a process, a procedure, whatever it is, when you go, don't just say, hey, I think this is a great idea. This is what I'm looking at. This is what we have to do to get there. This is going to be the ROI. And the ROI is the big, and we've all heard it before, sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? I'm selling the trip to Hawaii and the destination, not the plane. Seats 300 people. It's a wide body. There are 57 rows. We don't care about all that. We don't care about necessarily how we're getting there, even though first class Delta One would be nice. Flatbed seat, right? But it's really the destination, the laying on the beach, drinking the Mai Tai. So for my folks who feel like you might be bringing great ideas, what's the idea? What does it take to get there? But most importantly, what is the ROI? Period, end of story. And keep documentation, right? Say you shared this would have happened. Another time you shared this would have happened. And here we are with another opportunity. What do you think about taking this idea this time? So that would be my feedback and insights on that, Bill. Did that answer your question? Was that helpful?
Very, very helpful. And dealing with the constraints is key in understanding your situational awareness and how to communicate, so very good. And I like that, what's in it for me, what's in it for them, that kind of thing. And how's that all coming together? Fantastic. Thank you, Vernice.
Appreciate you. And if I throw this one additional piece, it might be great information or an idea that we're sharing with leadership, and it might not fit in the scope or the lane of what the organization is trying to accomplish in that moment. It might not be the priority. And if it's the priority and they're not taking the idea, think of a different angle of attack on what is it that would be juicy enough for them to, number one, give it the time of day and ask for feedback. What about the idea doesn't make it right for now? Or how can I help and contribute better ideas in the future if this one doesn't fit in this particular environment or situation, right? So they can give you an idea of what they're looking for. Thanks, Bill. Does anyone else want to add value to that? Come on, this is a conversation, Q&A. Don't leave us out here by ourselves.
Actually, Vernice, I have a question that kind of goes a little bit away from this. And it's, first off, thank you for your service. I'm a former Marine, so I absolutely love. So yeah, that was a whole conversation for those of you who are not military. We understood each other. But my question for you is, and this is going to go deep, but it's a short question, is what was your scariest moment and how did you prevail?
What was my scariest moment?
What was that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I don't know how I'm going to, and whether it's life or combat, I'm not raising one over the other, but for you, for all of us, we have that, that defining moment where we're like, this is it. I'm not sure I'm going to make it. I've got to follow my steps. What was that moment for you?
I don't know if I've ever had that kind of moment where I felt like I wasn't going to make it. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. I do have a moment. But not going to make it wasn't in a life or death situation. Sorry, hold on it. So the situation right now, I have two little pups. One is 60 pounds and one is not so little. One quick second. That's called a pet and Zoom moment. So from the age of 6, I wanted to be a police officer that rode a horse downtown. Fast forward, graduate high school, get to college. I've taken the civil servants exam. A couple of years after the civil servants exam, I get this call. Hey, police academy, come on down. I'm excited. I'm like, yes, it's everything I've been waiting for, right? And we get there, we park in the parking lot, we walk to the building, which is about half a mile away, and we're sitting at our desk and they just start asking us questions, right? And every time someone answers a question, they're like, no, wrong answer. Go out to your car and get the registration out of your glove compartment. So they run out to your car, you grab whatever it is they asked you, you come back in, you sit down. They call my name, Armour. I stand up, they ask me my question. No, go outside and get your registration. I'm excited. I'm like, I've been dreaming about this since I'm a little girl. I've been grinning ear to ear. Because, sitting in class, you're like, you're not smiling, or you're just trying to stay focused, right? So at this point, I'm like, yes, I made it. I'm wearing slacks, a blouse, penny loafers, right? Because you had to dress business casual. June in Nashville, Tennessee. It's hot. I get to the car, get my registration out. I'm sweating. I'm running back at this point. I should say jogging, not super fast, conserving a little bit of energy, but I'm excited, but I'm tired. I just ran a mile, half a mile out, half a mile back. I sit at my desk. I'm breathing hard, sweat's rolling. And about 5 minutes later, I hear them say, Armour. I was like, wow, there's another Armour in here? No, they were talking to me. I stand up. They ask me a question. They're like, no, wrong answer. I take off. I get outside of the building. I'm jogging and I'm thinking, I'm already tired. I'm not even halfway to the car yet. I get to the car. I have to take a break, breathing hard. I grab whatever it is they told me to get out of the car. I'm limping, jogging back. I had to walk a little bit and it was rough. This is mile 2, Nashville, Tennessee. Hot summer day. I think it was like high 90s, humidity off the chain. I get back, I sit by this point, I'm like, I sit at my desk and I remember gripping the edge of the desk, trying to catch my breath. And I close my eyes a little bit and I can feel the sweat rolling down my face and down my back. And I said, oh my God, this is just day 1. What if I don't make it? This is my dream. Like this is what I wanted to do in life. What if I don't make? What if I'm not strong enough? I'm not in shape enough. I'm not good enough, or whatever enough. And that was the first time that the thought of failure and not making it crept in. And that was a big deal because it was like, this was my life's dream. What if I didn't do that? Well, I wasn't thinking about anything else, right? So what did I do? I just focused, right? I said, okay, I'm not giving up. Whether it's been anything else I've done in my life, whether it was making it through flight school, making it through combat, making it as an entrepreneur, getting my business off the ground, right? Getting my company. I said, if I didn't have a backhoe, a shovel, a spoon, I was going to dig the ditch with my fingernails, with my bare hands, right? And that's just the way I've really looked at it. It's like the general who lands on the beach with all the troops and they disembark off the ships, and there are literally thousands of them, right? And there are however many ships in the sea, like hundreds. You've seen the scenes, right, where they're all the regatta, right? And he says, light the boats on fire. They light the boats on fire. They're getting ready to fight the fiercest warriors, right? And they're all afraid of dying and they're outnumbered, and they look at him, the boats are on fire, and they look at him and say, now what? He said, okay, we fight or we die. There was no way out, right? So how do you create a situation where there's no way out but success, but to overcome, but to acknowledge the obstacle, not give it power, find the solution and focus on success? How do we make that obstacle the opportunity? So I know I ended my answer with a question, but James, did that answer your question?
Indeed, it did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And as always, if anyone wants to add value, you can also put it in the chat. All right. If you're maybe a little shy, of course, now I'm going to say get gutsy, right? The gutsy move in your gut. You know it's right. It takes guts to do it, but you got to take action. So, Barbie, thanks for joining us. What's your question? Hi.
Yes, I'm here in tears. I don't know if you can see. I think you're speaking to me.
Oh.
Great information shared. I'm as someone mentioned today, I work for Bank of America, and I just won a prestigious award for all of the volunteer work that I do.
Congratulations.
And someone mentioned that, Barbie, you're always leading. You, even though you're a seasoned employee, you continue to get out there in the community. So I wanted to ask, and also wanted to add that I'm only a few courses away from graduating, and it just seems like the sky is falling out, and everything is getting in the way of me proceeding and persevering, and I know I can do it. But I wanted to ask, as you think about your amazing career, what would you do differently, and what are you most proud of?
What would I do differently? I can answer that very quickly. Nothing. Now, does that mean there weren't catastrophes and maybe not the best decision looking back on it? No, there were absolutely catastrophic failures of things that I did, right? And everything that I did put me here in this moment, breathing this breath, dropping my little girl off at school today, right? I don't have any regrets. Do I have lessons learned? Absolutely. But would I change anything? Not a single thing. And if I could share how I got to this place, and I'll make it a condensed share, but I had failed a tactics test when we were in combat. I was the senior rookie pilot out of 21. Failing the test put me on the normal track instead of the fast track where I would have like done Top Gun, WTI, been instructor pilot, test pilot, all the additional tours to Iraq, right? And because of that, I did my 2 deployments, moved to headquarters Marine Corps, where I was a diversity officer, liaison to the Pentagon, right? And I ended up in equal opportunity. I was like, how did I end up in equal opportunity? They said, well, Armour, they wanted a Black female pilot. I said, I'm the only one. How equal is that, right? But I learned a new one, bloom where you're planted. And but I was devastated. And this is a couple of years later. I was devastated. And I was talking to a buddy, and I said, if I'd only passed that tech, like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why did they do this? God, why did I fail that tactics test? If I'd only passed that tactics test, I'd have been a flight instructor. I would have been a test pilot. I would have gone to WT. I would be back in Iraq right now with the rest of my squadron. And when I said that in that moment, I had to stop, because had I passed that tactics test, I wouldn't have been here to discover the new dream that I wanted to step into, right? Of starting my company, sharing this message around the world, working with women in leadership, make bold, gutsy moves from a coaching standpoint. I wouldn't have been here when my dad was diagnosed with terminal bone cancer and able to visit him over 6 times in 1 year, where there were some years I couldn't even go home for Christmas or Thanksgiving because I was thousands of miles away. Or I wouldn't have been here when my mom called me on a Tuesday, wanted to know if I could come home for a birthday on Saturday. Dad was back in the hospital, routine blood work. Looked like he was still going to be there because his numbers weren't great. I ended up making a surprise trip home, right? And we head up to the hospital to see Dad. We got there at 2:00, heard him whisper happy birthday in my mom's ear. And by 6:07, Dad passed away. Les Brown says you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. There were so many times, Barbie, I said, why did I fail that tactics test? And who knows how many regrets I had at that point, but that one was definitely a regret, and one of the biggest regrets. And that day, having that conversation with my bud, I finally got it. Failing that tactics test put me in the room with my dad that day. What a blessing. And after years, literally years of regret, I knew I wouldn't change this answer, that answer, Top Gun, Iraq. I mean, I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I wouldn't fail one in the future, but I wouldn't change a single thing about that one. So life isn't about regrets. Life is about learning, right? Learning the lessons that are going to take us forward to make better decisions as we move down the line. Whenever I feel pain in life, I know I'm just feeling growing pains, right? Preparing me for the next mission I have been called to do. And that's my firm belief. So, no regret, no surrender. Did that
Awesome.
answer your
Thank
question?
you. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I guess I have a quick question. So I'm a firm, I met you a long time ago. You came to Clinton, Iowa and did our commencement speech at the soccer field. This was, God, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10 years. It was a long time ago. So.
Oh, you're talking about Ashford when we were outside.
Ashford, yeah, we were outside.
Yeah.
At the
I remember
soccer
that.
field. Yeah,
That was cool. That was cool. I had on my flight suit under
Yep.
the robe, and I took the robe off, and I ran
Took the
around,
robe
and I
off
took the
went out
flight
into the
suit off.
crowd and high five. Yeah, so it was very cool. So anyway,
I remember that.
So I'm dating myself a little bit, but
Yeah, that's
anyway, so
if you're dating yourself, then you're dating me, Charlie. So
I know. I'll bring you along with me.
All right.
So just quick. So I'm a firm believer in life that we all get where we are because people believe in us, give us opportunities, those type of things. So if you were to is there someone in your life who really believed in you, helped you get where you are today? And if so, kind of what behaviors did they exhibit that makes you think that?
You know what, Charlie? There were people that, hold on. I had COVID about a year ago. And I just said, with the long haul COVID, I said, I just don't want the cough. I don't want the cough. Anything but the cough. What did I get?
Okay.
The cough. Yeah. Excuse me. Now, for those of you wondering, I do have my cough drop here. There were people who believed in me, and I'm sure there were people who didn't, right? And my mom and dad believed in me, and my dad, being a Marine, right, a former Marine, did not want me to be a Marine, did not want me to be a police officer. It's not that they didn't believe in me. Excuse me. They just wanted me to take a different route, a safer route. And for those who didn't believe in me and my skill level or my competency, how did I navigate those situations? It goes back to my flight plan. What was my why? What did I really want? And I'll be honest, I do run into a lot of folks that said, oh, wow, I wanted to be a police officer, but my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, so I went to law school, right? At the end of the day, it has to go back to what you really want. And in those moments, not what I believe, what the actions have shown to be true is that your commitment to pleasing your parents were bigger than the commitment to accomplishing being the police officer, right? And I have a layman's way of saying it: the tongue in your shoe speaks louder than the tongue in your mouth, right? What do your actions show that you're committed to? So in life, and I remember thinking this, and I was young and probably a little more rebellious than I maybe should have been, right? A little maverick. But I was always different. I was different from everyone in my family, and I looked different. I dressed different, and sometimes I didn't comb my hair, and it was crazy, right? My mom cared about what everybody thought. And I think I just turned out to be the exact opposite. You either kind of are like your parents, or you're kind of like, you don't want to do the opposite of your parents. And in that case, I was the opposite. And I just didn't care what people thought about me, let alone thinking what I should do, right? And what I know to be true is you can try to make everyone happy. Not gonna happen. And you're gonna be unhappy, right? So you might as well make yourself happy and go for your goals, your visions, your dreams, because like this is not a dress rehearsal. And I remember thinking my mom did all the stuff that she wanted to do, and she was the little maverick and a rebel, herself. And I remember the stories that my granny and granddad and my aunts and uncles, would share. And I wanted a chance I was going to take the opportunity, right? Because we make our break, to live the life I truly wanted to live on my terms. Does it come with consequences? Absolutely. One of the generals that sat me down said, Captain Armour, just remember this. You can be right or you can be dead right, dead in the water. So I also add a caveat. Be careful about standing on principle, right? When it's just the principle of the thing. It's like, well, yeah. And what is the best outcome for the situation and for you? So did that answer your question, Charlie?
Yeah. I think when I talk with students in the past, sometimes with people get discouraged or whatever, and we go back to, tell me why you started school. Why did you start this journey? Because I think sometimes, especially with adult students, sometimes, life gets in the way. There's, a million things happen, so let's go back to why did you start? So I think we have to go, and then it's very personal. Okay, this is why
That's exactly right.
And what's in it for you? You're right. You do, but internally, it's a lot of work. And I mean, there's only, 168 hours in a week, no more, no less. What are you going to do?
That's right. And we all get the same amount.
Yeah. So
I like to say,
yes, we have to get back to why did you start this journey, and to get where you are to where you want to be, you really have to do something about it. There's no magic pill. It's just, this is not going to happen. So we get back to why they started. So tell me your story. Tell me your story. Why did you start? So, but no, thank you. That's very good. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And I like to say relighting that pilot light, right? Relighting that fire and then turn up the thermos, heat it up. So true.
Thank you.
Vernice, I would just like to say, I really admire your vision that you have. I think so many things start with what we visualize and where we're moving toward. And then we pick those leaders wisely that we want to follow those attributes and things in them. But you saw something at a young age, and I like how you recognized how the bias of families and culture can all kind of impact your decisions. So super job. I'm so happy I tuned into this. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you, Bill. And thanks for hanging in there with me. I showed up a little tardy there. Huge apologies for that, and I'll figure out what happened on my side. And for those of you that would like to get in touch, FlyGirl at vernicearmour.com, FlyGirl at vernicearmour.com, or hit me up on my website, vernicearmour.com. Of course, there's LinkedIn and there's Instagram and all the social media. Insta and LinkedIn are my main two. So I look forward. Take care, everyone. And until, stay gutsy.